On the road to Jeremiah and Colin as part of Chapter 6, which is going to give us the Garden Mark II, we hit a bump on the road with this brand new Guilford. But should you summon him? Well, in this video, you're going to find out. Okay, here's the new Guilford. Let's read up on how he works. Guilford is a rank 4 defensive pilot, and aside from having higher health and lower cost, his stats are all worse than the original Colin's. Now let's go on to his effects. So first he has a toughness or immortality, however you want to call it, and it works like this. Upon placement, increases this unit's attack power by 70% for 35 seconds and also prevents this unit from becoming incapacitated if it takes damage. That's really weird. What it's trying to say there is that if he had 0 health and still takes damage, he won't die. I'm not sure why it says even if it takes damage. Obviously, otherwise this wouldn't even matter. It's kind of stupid, but whatever. Translations are translations. Anyways, the next effect is a really terrible cost reduction. It says high, but it's level 1. Anyways, lowers the deployment cost of this unit by 2 and the deployment cost of Britannia's military pilots by 1. So that means he'll cost 3 to deploy, which is not bad. So here are my thoughts on this new Guilford, starting with the pros. One thing I do like about his effect to not die is that it happens as soon as he's summoned, which means there's no trigger like Colin's where she has to be under 50% of her health. That prevents him from being one-shotted by other enemies, which may not seem that useful now, but will be down the road. Also, if you time him properly, he can take out certain bosses with high health, since for the next 35 seconds he can't die, and he also boosts attack power during that. So if used correctly, this Guilford can be very deadly. For a defensive pilot, he actually has pretty good attack power and defensive stats, and ironically is stronger than the assault version of Guilford, and he works much better with Guilford's Gloucester with either weapon, which is pretty cool. With that really awesome cost reduction of 1, he does pair nicely with everyone in the Britannia military, especially Cornelia with her Gloucester, since Cornelia can boost his attack power and then boost it further with her Gloucester special. And since we just got arena mode, I should tell you that this Guilford is very good in that, because he can block a certain point since he can't die for 35 seconds, forcing you, the attack team, to have to wait 35 seconds to beat the level, assuming it's structured in a way where you have to defeat it with melee nightmare frames. And now for the cons. First of all, while his self-cost reduction is really good, his Britannian cost reduction is quite terrible, but to be fair, there aren't too many pilots in the game that do this anyhow. The only one I can think of is Schneisel, the rank 4 Schneisel, not the current one that we have, and that's a cost reduction of 2. The majority of the cost reducers that are part of the Britannian faction applied the cost reduction to a sub-faction within the main faction, if that makes any sense, and you'll see that a lot. Now, while it's great that Guilford's immortality ability prevents him from being one-shot as soon as he's deployed, but because it happens upon deployment, if you put him on the battlefield early on, it's possible that late in the game it won't be applied anymore, and thus he'll get taken out by a boss or something like that, which means that Guilford is better suited for the late game, not the early game, unless of course it's an easy battle and you don't care. To add on to this, Guilford does not have a fast redeployment time, which means you can't use his ability more than once in a battle, assuming it's going well. And if you can use the power more than once during a battle, then you probably already won and just having fun, which at that point turns it into a win more. So I like the ability, but I think Collins is just way better as she's more versatile on the battlefield. And speaking of that, Collins is just an overall better pilot. And when it comes to other defensive pilots like the other Collins or Toto or even Senba, I think they're all better than this Guilford, thus you have better options available to you. So, should you summon the new Guilford? Well, honestly, no, there are better banners coming up, especially Knights of the Round and Chapter 6. I'm not going to do it. The only way I could justify summoning Guilford is if you don't have Colin. But other than that, don't do it. If you're willing, maybe a couple spins and nothing more. And since the expedition event just started, I thought I would give you a quick priority list on all the items you should buy in the store. So let's do that real quick. Here's the shop for the limited expedition event. Prioritize these 3 items here. I guess go for the scout tickets, then the lockets, then the core luminous. Doesn't really matter which order though, but get these 3. Then going further, you might want to get pistols if you're still trying to level up the summer characters since they all use the pistols. After that, I recommend the defensive upgrade items, especially if you're trying to level up either Colin, Senba, Todo, Suzaku, or even this new Guilford if you summon him. So these are actually really useful. After that, I guess I would say the pilot enhancement materials and then the Gios coins. The only thing here I would say do not buy is the Borai, because it's obvious bait. Now, while summer in October is almost over, if you are curious about my thoughts on that, I made a video right here, plus top 10 tips for beginners. Check out those videos right now.